Northstar and arcade special attacks, maybe gameplay. Look, this is what we're going to see in this video. This is taken from some Kabam released on Twitter and Facebook videos that just showcase these two champions, and they look amazing. So let's take a look at them. So first of all, running through in its entirety without breaking anything down, we can see this. This is arcade, and this is a tech-based champion, which I did think would be the case around it. I love that slap. That first kind of slap is just so comical. But the way the animations are done is next level. Like, there's like a game show, like slime just dropped on you. And it looks like traps. That's something we'll kind of break down in a second. Yes, it does look like that's a trap. But the animations, like the game team, just do a fantastic job. It looks like that scepter has got like so many kind of like powers to it, like summoning any kind of like tech or kind of different things. And I don't know whether or not that, I suspect this is like, it's not if you choose a different one, you get a different type of punch thing. But I think this is just, it's just brilliant. Like the animation team around in Kabam are just, they're just next level. They really are. So let's break some stuff down from this. First of all, starting with this. It looks like we have traps. For another month, we have traps. With Silver Sable having a trap, you can see in the motion at the moment, or in the battle screen, that there's a trap laid. This stays constant throughout the animation, which kind of makes sense. I think Kabam, I can't compliment them enough on what they do on an individual level, from creating characters into animations, rigging them, the reference, artwork and stuff like that. They do just a fantastic job. This is hilarious, right? It's just like the zoom in. He's excited to kind of blast Deadpool with like a hell of a amount of fire. I mean, that's kind of a thing with tech-based champions, that they can incinerate. I mean, make a sentinel. More's going to come to me like as I go on. I'll be like, oh, that does incinerate. Put in the comment section what other. It's either shock or incinerate that's been. Or plasma. This could be a plasma. We'll find out later on. I don't know if this can be a deep dive later on today, because of the live stream the way it was. Everything's kind of like out of sequence. That might be a heavy attack actually, because I think this is the SP2. The SP1 drops a trap. SP2 launches these discs, which in some ways is actually pretty fun to look at. And I know it's a part 2, isn't it? Because he's on fire, and then this is a part 2 to it. So part 1, flame on. Part 2 is the flying discs of doom. In the flying discs of doom, I suppose it's trying to time yourself. If you time well, you can be able to evade away from this, which, look, it's perfectly fine. You should be able to do that, he says. It depends on the rate at which they come at you. They come at you pretty fast, because as soon as they hit the ground, it's like, don't swipe then, but swipe when they're coming towards you. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? And the SP3, of course, is just next level. I completely love what Kabam have done with creating a character that's true to comic book styling, but also from a character that, look, can't technically do any kind of great amount of damage. He has to rely on his tricks, his technical build, and the building of these what seems to be so like arcade-based traps and things in his own kind of like realm or dimension or whatever it is. But anyway, let's go on to Northstar, which should be a very fast champion. So on a scale of things, I don't know if I'm overly interested in Northstar, but look, any champion is the first time reacting to stuff with him. Of course, being a mutant-based champion, he is also floating. I think he's one of very few floating-based mutant-based champions. That as an SP1 is just devastating, and that's just a pummel right there. Speed, like this is similar to Quicksilver. This is my only kind of like reservation right here on this one, is like he's kind of the kind of movements can be quite jarring on the screen, and that was something I didn't particularly enjoy with Quicksilver. I liked it at first, but then I found it quite jarring when you're trying to concentrate. And that's really it. That's I actually found that a little bit of a disappointment, because it's just like, what can you do with quick champions, like quick characters? Like, they're fast. Okay, I get it. But it's just very much similar to Quicksilver. I'm expecting that, again, we're looking back over this. It's just it's a floating. I don't want to say it's like a floating Quicksilver, because that takes away from the extent of work that Kabam have put into these characters, because I'm sure they've put in a lot. That's yes, but from a speed perspective and looking at it, it's just flowing in the same way Quicksilver. The only kind of variation and difference to that is that he's flying, and also there's more beam-based attacks. And yeah, okay, the SP3 is different, and there are actually some really kind of cool things that I do like, but it does unfortunately look a bit like, and the movements are very much like the about Quicksilver. I'll play it again. I don't think I'm giving it a fair shake with coverage of it, but it's just how it seems to me, and that's right here. Like, as it plays out, the movements that I'll have to kind of like showcase in a minute what I'm talking about. It's just the movements wise, it looks very reminiscent. It's just a floating version of Quicksilver, and I'm sure that's the thing. The abilities, I'm just hoping the abilities are different. There are of course differences with like beam attacks, energy based attacks, which you're going to see right here, or there we go, energy attacks, beam based attacks there. That puts it in a little bit of a different sphere. It kind of reminds me, was it a little bit like Adam Warlock, Nova SP2? No, there's other champions like that. But I do like in the SP3 animation, like one thing that's cool, that kind of like real focus in close, which was just there, and I didn't pause it. I still didn't pause it in time. There. This kind of like right in your face, like speed type thing. That's why the animation team, like they've gone a bit above and beyond what was with Quicksilver and added some things with the SP3. Of course, the SP3 for Quicksilver was a nod to things like, was it Apocalypse or was it Days of Future Past? It might be Days of Future Past. It was. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I am very much torn with how it is. Arcade looks amazing, and my hope is it's a really strong tech-based champion that we can take into lots of different pieces of content. Traps are back, because we saw the traps with that, which is brilliant. Like, it's good to have these traps be more of a thing, because they've been more of a loosely based thing. I don't know whether or not Kabam are trying to force it into existence with traps. Maybe that's a bad... Oh, that's loud. Force it into existence, but I just like it. I think it's Arcade, for me, is the champion I would get out of the two. But I don't know abilities. Later on with the deep dives, we'll find out more on abilities. But I just like what Kabam have done with this. They've taken a very obscure, niche character and made it fun and interesting. So that's something that I can only commend Kabam on, to take something that we don't know a lot about. Not that a lot of people would care about the character, but add in some things like these blades and SP3, like just really cool animation. So props to Kabam on Arcade. Not quite sure about Northstar. That's been a video. What are your thoughts on some of the characters, these two characters right here? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye-bye for now.